and I edit this beforehand. So, hey guys, welcome to the second week of Small Business Saturday. I'm Jason Decker, and with me I have Hank McNeil from Hank's Heating and Cooling. And we're going to get to know a little bit about Hank. You probably have seen his van running around Rockford. Just to get to know a little bit about him. Hank, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, just a little bit. Tell us a little about yourself. I think anybody who's ever talked to you knows that you're not from around here. You got that southern accent. So what brought you to Rockford? And, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a preacher's kid, and I grew up in Athens, Georgia, which is the home of the University of Georgia. So I'm a bulldog through and through. Can't get that out of me. I was working for a printing company in the Atlanta area, and they were installing a printing press in Sparta to print the instant play area for the Michigan lottery, scratch-off lottery tickets. And so they were building a new machine. They brought me up here to install the machine and to train them how to keep it running. And they didn't have anybody up here that could keep it running, so they ended up moving me up here to keep it running.
Okay.
My wife, Cindy, many of you know, was working for the same company, so that's where we met. In fact, for a short period of time, in title anyway, I was her boss.
That doesn't typically work out well.
The company that we were working for got caught defrauding the state of Michigan. So I was out of a job. We were applying for an apartment. I mentioned it as part of the application process, and it so happened that they had an opening for a maintenance person, and I took it. We moved in straight into the maintenance apartment instead of the regular apartment, and I got sick of not, doing things by the guess way instead of not knowing scientifically how it was supposed to be done. So I went out to what was then called the Kent Skill Center.
Yep.
And I took a heating class, and I took a refrigeration class, which is the science of air conditioning. And then I took every manufacturer's training class that I could find along the way. I worked for Home Repair Services in the inner city of Grand Rapids for a little over 10 years. And then I had enough of what I could stand of that part of town. And I went to work for a regular heating and cooling company, a pretty large company. They did about 50-50 residential and commercial. And after a few years, I decided that climbing on roofs and chipping the ice off units and shoveling the snow off before you could even start to work on them wasn't for me. So I moved to another large heating and cooling company that was almost totally residential. I was one of their senior techs, so I was running all over everywhere fixing the stuff the other guys couldn't figure out how to. And I got sick of being away from home and having to drive into town, and you know what the winters are like here in Michigan. So one of the local companies here was hiring a heating and cooling tech, so I came to work up here. But over all of those years, all of those companies, they emphasize sales. And I can kind of understand, because I don't know how else they would evaluate a technician. But, to them, how many furnaces you sell, how many humidifiers you sell, that's what it's all about. And I'm the kind of person, if you don't need a furnace, I'm not going to sell you a furnace. If you don't need a humidifier, which I think everybody does, but I'm not going to sell you a humidifier. If we can fix the one you got, why not? People always tell me, well, it's old. Me too.
So you're not upselling people. You're doing what they actually need to be done.
I believe in if it can be fixed, fix it. As long as it's within, the price range, because normally it can be fixed for a whole hell of a lot cheaper than it can be replaced. Whether it's a furnace,
makes sense,
or a humidifier, or a part on one of them.
And I know you have the Hank's Heating and Cooling. How long have you owned? It sounds like you've been doing this a long time. How long have you owned Hank's Heating and Cooling?
So yeah, I got sick of working for somebody else and by their standards and that. And so on 7/17 of 17, I opened Hank's Heating and AC.
Cool. Great.
And I always say, if you've heard me introduce myself before, you'll heard me say when you call Hank's Heating, you get Hank. And that's really, I think, my biggest difference from the other companies, because when you call me, you're going to get a licensed HVAC contractor out at your house. When you call another company, you're going to get a guy who might see the guy who's got the license in HVAC once a month or so in most companies. And this guy is just a mechanic that they've tried to train to work on your furnace. And many of them do a great job, but you can never know. Whereas if you call Hank's, you get Hank.
Hank's right here. So, couple fun questions. What's the most common service that you perform with your clients? What's most people call you for?
Nowadays it's become maintenance.
Okay.
With the newer furnaces and air conditioners and the emphasis on efficiency and that, maintenance becomes important. A small amount of refrigerant, either low or overcharge in your air conditioner, can be a large amount of electricity being wasted. Same with your furnace. If it's not adjusted and burning the way that it should be, you could be paying a whole lot more for your heat than you need to be.
And that's interesting. I had no idea. So, is there anything that's been maybe unique that you've done in the past with a client?
So one of the funnest things is that big tower that's right downtown in the middle of town. It's right in the middle of the 196 and 131 intersection there. There is a suite which consumes 2 floors of that tower.
Really?
Up near the top.
Okay.
It has a living wall, which are plants that are growing right up the wall on the inside of the building. It has a 2-story waterfall.
What? Really?
Yep. Right in the condo there, right in downtown Grand Rapids. It was a sweet place. It was a sweet place.
That's very cool. Now, everybody probably knows, has ever talked to Hank. He is a Georgia Bulldog through and through. Grew up in Athens. Well, us around here in West Michigan, we've got the Ferris State Bulldogs, and guess what? Both of them have done. They have won the national championship of football. It's a D1 and D2. So go Bulldogs.
Yep. Go Dogs.
You're the Dogs. I'm a Bulldog alum. Ferris State, by the way. So I know we got something called the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. And we've got 2 SEC quarterbacks in there. Joe Burrow's from LSU, but Stafford is from your beloved Georgia Bulldogs. So I'm assuming it's LA that you want, but who do you have winning and why?
Matthew Stafford, if he's given the opportunity, always finds a way.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So, guys, as you can see, he's a great dude. Been very. This has been an awesome interview. I want you to do a favor for me. If you see his van out there, honk for Hank. Honk at Hank. So that's what we're gonna call it. Honk for Hank. So thank you for your time. Enjoy your Super Bowl weekend, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Decker.
You're welcome.